Hello, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert and Sensational 6, our Wednesday broadcast. Thank you for joining us, and why don't we begin our time together with an opening prayer, bringing together and reminding ourselves of the presence of God and Spirit that is right here. That in this moment and in this space and place, we breathe in and breathe out that infinite presence. That is Spirit, that is life. And from this space and this place and knowing the infinite is right where we are individually and collectively, the wisdom in this time together shines forth to enlighten and enrich our lives beyond what they were before. That every sharing, every suggestion, every comment, and every question brings more light and love and peace to the presence of this community and the world. For this time together, I give grateful thanks. And in this moment, as we're giving thanks and blessing our time together, we give thanks and bless for all those veterans on this Veterans Day, of their service, of their contributions, for their loss, and just give grateful thanks for the presence and essence that they are and always have been. In this time together, we just let go and let God. And so we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So welcome, everyone. My name is Reverend Brad, and we always start out our Wednesday Sensational 6 program with kind of a little catchy little introductory question that we can all share and contribute to, and then we'll get into our main topic. So today's introduction questions for our panelists was list some nouns that describe you and explain why each one and how it describes you. So I had to think about that one first. So, the first one that obviously that came to mind for me was parent. So I just love being a parent. Lately I've been thinking about, was there things I could have done better as a parent? But I love being a parent now, and my son's just doing amazing work in the world, so we're thankful for that. When I think about my son, then I also think about Lego builder, and I'm sure that's a noun. So Lego builder is what I've loved. I have one hidden in my garage, in my trunk right now to pull out during the holidays to do. And my son and I always did Legos, especially Star Wars themed Legos, which were just hilarious. I feel I'm a great friend. I love being a friend. I work and want to enrich myself personally to be a better friend whenever I am expressing that. Minister. I love being a minister. I love being a minister. I was thinking what it takes to be a minister and how to be a better minister before I was officially a minister, just because I think that level of service and consciousness and love and contribution is a great single word to come from when you want to be of service in this life. And the other noun to describe me is rock crusher. I think it's just abbreviated crusher, and that's what men of a bigger size are called when they're mountain biking, because they're crushing the rocks. So you can see my bike over my shoulder there. Getting ready to be tuned up. I found someone to come to the house and tune it up. So rock crusher. Reverend Cheryl, what are some nouns that describe you?
I'd have to start with parent as well. I think that was, when my kids were growing up, was probably the most fulfilling time of my life. Parent as well. I think that was, when my kids were growing up, it was just a kind of I got to do so much with them, and they got to be such a part of my life that it was really cool. And so then I think the second word would be friend, because my friends are my family. I mean, once you're in my circle, you can't get away. You don't want to get away. I just want to, and then the other would be, because my friends, you know what they do? They just enrich my life so much. You know, every one of them, and each one of the people here I consider to be my friends, and y'all really enrich my life. And so then the third thing, I guess, would be I'm a volunteer. I just love to be of service. And so anytime I get an opportunity to do things that, you know, to be of service to our community or to the greater community, I love doing that kind of stuff. It's just so fulfilling. And I'm a learner. I love to learn. I love to read. I love to anything new. Every time I find a new little nugget, I'm just so excited about it. You know, I've been watching that music channel on the TV that's called Soundscapes, and they have all of these different quotes from different people. And I swear, I figured out, I take my phone and I'm taking pictures of the TV so I can get that quote, you know, from everything from William James to Lao Tzu. I mean, it's just great, you know, so lots of nuggets there. And then last of all, I guess I'm a worker. I absolutely adore my job. I have the best job on the planet. I really do. All I do is plan parties and have fun. So what more could you ask for? So I guess that's my 5. So I guess I'm going to turn it over now to Reverend Lori.
So I was thinking more along the lines of things and you know, person, place, or thing, right? So I was thinking like water describes me. First of all, we're all like, what, 90% water, but I just love water. To me, that whole image of the sea of infinite receptivity, as Ernest Holmes says, is something that just really speaks to me. And I love it physically as well, being in the water. It's like my happy place. Light. Because my big thing is holding everything lightly. So I got to say light. And energy, because, you know, we're all energy. And earth and ground. Those 2 words as well, because being grounded, being present in my physical experience, I really need to balance that out with the whole water, which is much more ethereal to me, and the energy part. Like I need to anchor that in to my earth experience. So to me, that's kind of describes me in a balanced way. So let's see who's next. Reverend Dale.
I think I'm next. Thank you, Reverend Lori. So in the interim of everybody sharing, I changed a couple of mine because new ideas came to light. So the first one I put is heart, because I feel like that describes how I live life, and where the center of my beingness is my heart, and that spaciousness of love. My second word was magnet, because I see myself as a magnet that brings people together to come together in spiritual community. My next word is teacher, because I love to teach. It's really who I am. And I've always been like this. Even when I was a little kid, I just have had that gift of being able to teach people, whether it's spirituality. It used to be aerobics. It was dance at one time. So I've just had a lot of different opportunities to be that teacher. Of course, I have to say spirit, because spirit encompasses all life. That describes who I am, and actually describes who everybody is. And that's what I really identify with. And lastly is practitioner. And I know I'm a minister, but to me, practitioner, every minister is a practitioner, which is what we speak to. And being a practitioner is, I think, what I was really born to be in this world. It's who I am. It's who I will always be, is that person who is here to always know the truth for everybody, and to be there to pray and bring people up into truth. So I'm going to pass it on now to Reverend William.
Oh, thank you so very much, Dale. Those are great words. And yeah, I had a little bit of harder time, because she's asking for words to describe, but yet she wants nouns. And so I'm thinking everything I was popping up was like, no, that's an adjective. I got it. What's a noun? So after a while, I came up with these 5. First and foremost, again, I love the lion. And so the reason why I chose lion as my first noun is because I love the idea of how they are. They don't get overly excited about anything unless it directly affects them. And that's when they wake up, and that's when you watch out, and you better watch yourself. And so I kind of like that idea. Second, I like water. Water is a great way to describe myself because it can come in many different states, whether it's a liquid, whether it's gas, or whether it's a solid. But it also brings refreshment to all life. It's a necessity of life, water. And so I like that idea. And also, I like it because it can easily move around obstacles that may get in its way, continue on its own very path. And so that's what I like about water. Secondly, or third, is a chair. And you may be laughing, chair. Why would you want to be described as a chair? I will tell you. Because I like that it brings help and comfort to those in need. It gives you a place of rest, and that's what being a minister is all about. It also can be used in ways that it wasn't intended for, such as it can be used as a stepladder, or it can be used to shove under a doorknob to become a lock for a door. And if you have puppies and dogs, you can lay it on its side, and now it can become a fence to keep your animals where you want them. So I like the idea that something that was designed in one way through thought can be used in many different ways upon which it was never intended. Third or fourth is light. And the thing I love about light is that it helps others to see. Again, helping others. But the intriguing thing about light to me is that you don't see light. You see the effects of light when it interacts with an object. Only then can you see the effects of light. And that's another spiritual truth that I do like, is each of us aren't really doing much until we interact with someone else or something else, and then you see the effect of that interaction. And I love that idea of having something created when two or more people come together. And then lastly, human. I am perfect the way that I am. However, I can always expand and improve myself. And isn't that kind of an oxymoron? If I'm already perfect, how can I become more or improve myself if I'm already perfect? But yet it's a fact, you can. And that's exciting. I mean, that's opens up so many possibilities. So no matter where you are in your life, I feel that these 5 words that I've picked can always help you out in improving wherever you want to go. And so, Reverend Gail, you are next.
Thank you, Reverend William. Gosh, I've had such a ball listening to all of your very unique and really very appropriate nouns that you've used to describe yourself. I just love this exercise because it kind of turns my head all the way around when I think about it, because most of us use adjectives to describe ourselves. So this was a real challenge for all of us. So my first noun is the noun mountain. And I chose this noun because, like a mountain, I believe I have a strong base or foundation in oneness and in spiritual connection. You know, my consciousness is always expanding upward, just as almost all of our mountain chains are all growing in height every year. My second noun is airplane. And airplanes, particularly commercial airplanes, are constantly traveling from one place to another. So I feel like I'm a little bit like an airplane because I'm always exploring something new, I'm always learning, and I'm always growing. And then my third, fourth, and fifth nouns come from the noun, which is a flower, heather lavender. And I chose this flower because it symbolizes 3 nouns, 3 things: admiration, solitude, and beauty. So for admiration, I am so grateful to have so many people in my life that I adore and I learn from and who support me in becoming the person that I desire to be. The second noun, solitude, because although I'm very social, I am an introvert. So I renew my energies enjoying time with myself. And the third, or for me, the fifth noun is beauty, because I delight in and I am truly amazed by the beauty and perfection that I find everywhere. So, okay, those are my 5 nouns. And now we're on to today's topic. So soon, it's going to be time to change our calendars from December to January. And as we do, many of us will begin the new year with a big list of New Year's resolutions. You know, I've never been a big fan of resolutions, as they've always felt to me like a list of what's wrong with me and what needs to be fixed, which I know is not true for me, and I also know it's not true for any of you. Well, today we're here to invite you all to reframe your thoughts around resolutions by providing spiritual resources and tools that support you in reframing versus resolving how you experience your life. I like to think of reframing as an opportunity to more deeply connect with my body, mind, and spirit. It's a way to excavate my heartfelt desires and to gain new and broader understanding. So, are you interested in mining the meaning of your experiences? Do you believe that your mistakes provide a chance to transform your life? Have you discovered that one of life's many, many blessings is the ability to see perceived misfortunes as blessings in disguise? So if you said yes to any of those questions, you've come to the right place, because today our topic is the spiritual practice of reframing 2020. And you are going to leave this exploration with an opportunity to change, to learn, to grow, to see every person and every event you encounter as a spiritual teacher. So each of us today is going to select an emotion that is ripe for reframing. And then we're going to provide you with spiritual practices from a wide variety of spiritual traditions for both reflection and for practice to support you in integrating this shift. And I sense that between the 6 of us today, one of us will select an emotion that is ripe for reframing for you. So before we start, what exactly is spiritual reframing? Well, let me answer that question with an example from Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. "It's snowing. Still," said Eeyore gloomily. "So it is." "And it's freezing." "Is it?" "Yes," said Eeyore. "However," he said, brightening up a little, "we haven't had an earthquake lately." So great reframe, Eeyore. Spiritual reframing, just like Eeyore did, is shifting your mental and emotional responses to people and events. It requires opening your mind to other possibilities than the one that first pops into your head, keeping in mind this universe is infinite possibilities. So with that simple introduction, I'm going to jump in first with a big one. It's my pick for today, which is reframing anger. And then I'm going to turn this over to my cohorts. And why is anger a big one? Well, because I've discovered that all of the things that I'm against weaken me. And given that, how can I take something I'm against and reframe it so that it can promote abundance as my life or promote what I am for? So if someone is cantankerous around me and I embody this emotion, I become part of cantankerous. It is me and I am it. And I don't want to join that. So reframing cantankerous asks, what am I for? You see, it's not really the person's behavior or event that gets me upset. I've realized that. It's really how I process or frame their behavior. So instead, I see this behavior as where he or she is on their path. And I simply reframe my response to support what I am for in this relationship, be it harmony, love, maybe peace. So instead of making a disempowering resolution to fix myself or to write this person out of my life forever, I empower myself by reframing my response or shifting my consciousness to what I am for. So if you reflect upon your anger and let it speak to you, it can help you discover what's important to you and who you really are. You discover its gift to you through reframing it. So I mentioned gift. What is the gift in reframing anger? Well, there's times when anger is appropriate. As a matter of fact, we need to feel what we feel. But when I can't then release my anger, it hurts me more than the person or situation I am angry at. And when my anger then grows into bitterness or resentment over whatever has happened because I can't release it, then I allow it to disempower me and I allow it to damage my life. So many psychologists would tell us that people's unhealthy anger is often about principles and rules of behavior that they're having trouble with. So when I fall into this trap, the simple consideration I give myself is this: stop getting angry about what a good person should do and instead reframe. Just be a good person myself. Be the person I wish everyone else to be. So Mahatma Gandhi is credited for saying, be the change you want to see in the world. But as it turns out, there's really no record of Gandhi ever saying being the change. What he actually said on record is even better. He said if we could change ourselves, the tendencies of the world would also change. So using this overview of reframing anger, let's jump into today's practices. So Dr. Ernest Holmes was drawn to the similarities of the great religious and spiritual traditions and felt that we would be best served to place our focus on our common points rather than fighting about our differences. And it's from these common points that the Science of Mind textbook was written. So we have all chosen practices to share with you today that resonate with us and also derive from the common points that are characteristic of our planet's spiritual traditions and major religions. So for me today, first a reflection and then a practice. My reflection is from Musar, a Jewish spiritual practice that provides instruction on how to live a meaningful and ethical life. And it's based on the idea that by cultivating our inner values, we improve ourselves. So Jewish tradition identifies being slow to anger as a quality of God. And in the Musar teachings, anger is not considered an inherently negative characteristic. It's actually considered counter to lash out in anger without some measure first of reflection. So I have found that being slow to anger gives me the time and the space needed to consider how to respond. And it also spares me all of the unfortunate outcomes that acting rashly tends to bring. So with that reflection, consider journaling these two questions. What are you angry about most often? And how does that anger point you to the work you need to do? Now I'm going to finish up by inviting you into a practice. So Zen Buddhism offers this practice for seeing someone who makes you angry in a different way, reframing. So close your eyes if you're comfortable. Think about someone you are or have been angry with. Imagine this person sitting before you in a chair. Feel your anger rising up, but suspend if you can the inner monologue that speaks the anger. Once you have the image of this person clearly in your mind, imagine him or her doing or saying something quite unexpected. Imagine him or her performing an act of kindness. Imagine them apologizing to you or helping you. Imagine a steady stream of generosity and kindness flowing from this person to you. How do you feel about your adversary now? If you're thinking that's ridiculous, he or she would never do that, Remember that this is your visualization, an act of focused, intentional imagination. Your imagined adversary can do whatever you intend for him or her to do. The reframing contemplation Zen Buddhism would offer is this. Are you sure your resistance is really because you think your adversary would never be kind to you? Or could it be because you don't want to give up the protective coating of your righteous anger, even for a moment? So as you open your eyes and come back into the room, that's my take on spiritually reframing anger. So who would like to jump in next?
Thank you, Reverend Gail. That was really amazing. So as Spirit would have it, I had an opportunity to experience some very deep fear this week. I was filled up with it. I felt it throughout my entire body. And I went in to take a bath because I love being in the water and I love a warm bath. And I was feeling this fear and really sitting with it. And I realized I need to pray, and I need to pray big, because I was needing that reframe. And so I just said a huge, massive prayer in the bathtub, which is actually quite lovely. And everything shifted for me. And the rest of my night was beautiful. And the day after that, and the day after that, because I reframed what was going on in my whole body as a fear, as an emotion that I couldn't escape from, and I couldn't think my way out of it. But going into prayer, which we teach, prayer is all about shifting energy for a desired outcome. That's really what it's all about. And so I shifted my energy through the power of prayer for a desired outcome, which was peace of mind. And I think most religions talk about prayer, communing with the divine within ourselves, to allow ourselves to move out of whatever condition, whatever mental state, emotional state we're in that's got us held tightly, to be able to move away from that by communing with Spirit within ourselves. And being a practitioner and a minister, prayer is always my go-to. It is always that which frees me and changes anything I am going through, to be able to come back into that centered space of peace, of love, of knowing truth, so that I can move forward in my life with calmness. And so I just, I think prayer is where it's at, as are other methods of moving consciousness or shifting or reframing, as we're speaking to tonight or today. But my big one, obviously, is prayer, because anytime we pull our focus and our awareness and our consciousness to contemplating God, Spirit, whatever you want to call that higher power, spending time in that severs the energy that we're feeding off of, that's causing us consternation or discord. It breaks that tie and allows us to reconnect with what is true and most powerful within us, which is God. And that's a great shifter. It's a great reframer. And so I'm going to pass it on to, I'm not sure who's next. Cheryl, Reverend Cheryl is next.
Good morning, everyone. This is a great one, especially coming up for the holidays, because I know that in the past, I have had relatives or certain people that when I'm around them, they make me crazy. I admit it. I'm sure I make them crazy as well. But what I started when I was going through practitioner training, it was a really cleansing thing for me. I mean, everything spewed out. It was all just had to come out somewhere, and it was a perfect place. But it was about, what I call it is rewriting the story from the other person's point of view. And so I like to journal. And sometimes when I'm journaling, I'll write down something, I'm writing and an experience or something I've been through. And then I just stop for a minute and think, in every relationship, you can't give 100%. You can only give 50% to any relationship, because the other person has to give 50%. And if that's not happening, so, what do you do about that? How do you keep those feelings and those emotions from spewing out, especially during the holidays when you're around people that, might not be your favorite people, but they're family, so you're going to be around them. So what I have found is that even though I might be sitting there and listening to someone speaking to me about something that I just, but I stop myself and I think about, what assumption am I making about this? And why am I taking this so personally? Why have I put these buttons on me that this person can push? And I just stop and think about, how do they feel? And I know that I am connected to them 100%. So even if they're putting out whatever they're putting out, their judgment or recrimination or whatever, I don't have to accept it. I don't have to incorporate that into me. So for me, rewriting the story and reframing the ideas around it just allows me to go to that place where, okay, no effect. In other words, it's not going to disturb my peace of mind or put me in a place where I'm unhappy or upset or whatever. I just keep myself in that balance by thinking about where they're coming from and trying to understand where they're coming from, rather than bringing my own emotions into it and starting a conflict, So, and I found that ever since I started doing that, and that was one of the things that actually Reverend Gail taught me. I, have conflict with, and she said, remain curious. Just be curious about what's going on. Ask questions, and you don't have to put your own thoughts in there. Just be curious and hear and just listen. And it just completely changed the dynamics in one of my relationships. I mean, I had the most fabulous time with my daughter recently because I reframed it and stopped thinking I was the mom. I was the one that was curious. I was the one that was asking the questions and involving myself, and by, putting my own thoughts and feelings aside and just hearing and listening. So I think that after me is Reverend Brad. So Brad, go for it.
Thanks, Reverend Cheryl. Powerful topic today. Thanks for bringing it to our attention, Reverend Gail. Just amazing. And I love, Reverend Dale, when you were reminding us of the power of prayer, that we do a affirmative spiritual mind treatment, because our thinking created our life. So let's reframe the mind that did the thinking and do treatment work on that. I want to really emphasize that spiritual practice. I like to, before I bring my emotion and feeling, I like to sandwich it between a couple of the same spiritual practice, just seen differently. So one was a practice I did years ago, and I was working during the day, and then I had to go back to work at night. And I remember going home, and it was around 5 or 6, and I laid on my bed to do meditation, and I couldn't. My mind was going 100 miles an hour. And if I had had a red pen and a yellow notepad, I would have written pages of information, of things to do, people to talk to, what I needed to handle. And when I was done with that, I didn't realize it in the moment, but about an hour later when I'm working, I felt such a deep sense of release and peace. And I think it was because whatever was in me had an exit point, whether it was a miscellaneous thought or a thought that was very pertinent to my life. I just let it out. So maybe even describing that, you feel anxious. But my word that I was thinking of for this exercise was anxiety. Whether it's the life experience that we're observing on our country, on our planet right now, or in your home, that can feel so, oh my gosh. And I started practicing it a few days ago, of taking whatever the issue is and taking it to an extreme of, like, what's the worst case scenario? And in almost all cases, it's like, well, that's as bad as it can really get. Well, I can handle that. I handled that last week. So it helps bring the current issue of, to a different perspective. And a thing I tried just yesterday, which is really different, you can tell by the speed which I talk, I think even faster. And I often have to go like this to make sure I'm be present with where I am. So I thought about, what about journaling that same exercise of all the anxiety and this and that and things to do and such as that? What if I just wrote the list out and physically wrote it? Well, I can't write nearly as fast as I can talk, much less how I think. So it forced me to put it on paper and put it clearly. So you could get anxious the first few lines because you're trying to get more out really fast. But stay with it till the end of the page or the next page or the next page, and you'll just have. It's kind of like that healthy thing we do with a practitioner or a therapist. We just kind of let me get it out of me, the initial energy of the then maybe I can take a breath and see it a little differently, more clearly, more peacefully. Then I can bring in a new thought, a new practice, an additional practice, a new way of thinking about it. So mine was anxiety, and just, it's a weird way of being with, but just being with it and run with it. And don't make it wrong. Just like sit with it. I'm going to spend 5 minutes thinking about whatever this feeling is and just go crazy with it. Okay, I'm done. And you'll feel the physical, much less emotional release from that. So I don't see the chat available, but I know an amazing partner of mine here is going to share next.
I said that's me. I'll be the amazing partner, but first I have to unmute. I love what you all have all been sharing, and I want to share an experience I actually had this week. So I was asked to write a paper kind of on the fly in a class, and the question that we were writing about kind of poked everybody, which I didn't realize was happening because we were all, on Zoom. And I stood with the question, and I could see myself going one way with it, which was kind of or going the other way. Like I could gather evidence for some negativity while I was writing this, for everything that was wrong with my life, or I could gather evidence that for all that was right and all the good and all that I was grateful for. And so rather than reframing, I actually stood there and framed. I made a decision which direction I was going to go in based on how I was experiencing my energy. And very quickly, and I realized, wow, this is a skill set that I've practiced long enough that I can call it up in a moment's notice. I can project in either direction what my experience will be very quickly based on my energy. And that's curiosity, right? That's what we were just talking about. So Buddha told his followers, come and see. Come and see. Not come and do, not even come and be, but come and see. And to me, it's like, okay, what am I seeing here is one of my favorite questions. And you all know, anybody who's been watching the show for any length of time, that I love asking ontological questions. Those are questions that help me to observe. And when I'm in that observational mode, all is well. And I really want to speak to what Brad said, about doubt, right? And or anxiety. Write it all down. Well, that, I think, and fear, every single thing that has come up here, if you are willing to lean into it instead of lean away from it, which is what we tend to do, right? So I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling, for me, my reframe is doubt, anxious, angry, whatever it is, it doesn't feel good. So we want to push it away. And as we push it away, it gets bigger. It gets bigger. It takes on like its own life, and it just starts to snowball. But something funny happens when you lean into it, when you do exactly what Reverend Brad said. You cough it all up. You put it all in front of you, and you look at it, and it usually ends up like, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. I mean, it's not as bad as we make it out to be sometimes in our mind, whatever it is we're dealing with, whether it's fear or doubt. And it's easy for us to go to the what ifs in life, to the negative. Like we're kind of hardwired for negative because it helped us survive, like looking for danger, looking for what was wrong. That's part of our wiring. So it takes some effort to what if in the other direction. So what if things fall apart? What if things don't work out? Or what if, oh my God, this works out amazing? What if right around the corner there's something phenomenal waiting for me? What if, and fill in the what if blank with something positive. Really look, cough up all the stuff that you're worried about. look at it, lean into it, know that it's nothing compared to who and what you are. It just isn't. The worries and doubts are like mental burps most of the time. I mean, there's not a lot of there. You know, it's usually just our mind kind of making stuff up, making stories up, making filling in the blanks. If you're going to do that, make up a good story. You know, that's what reframing is. Write a good story. Make yourself the hero of your story. You know, come in there with some spiritual tools and kick some spiritual butt. You can do whatever you want in your story. So write a good story. That's what we're talking about. And then eventually you may not even have to reframe every time. You'll get to the point where you can frame, like make a conscious choice. I see fear, I see doubt, I see worry, and I see gratitude. And I see presence and I see truth. Which path do I want to go down? You will get to that point. And it's through all these spiritual practices that we're all sharing. So who would like to go next? Let me check. William, here we go.
Oh, wow, Reverend Lori, that was just, you almost took out everything you took wind down of my sails about what I was going to talk about, but that was fabulous. So I'm just going to add a little bit I'm going to put the salt and pepper on what you just talked about. Yeah, fear is definitely something to reframe. And one of the things that I love about Dr. Joe is he talks about futurizing. This fear, this doubt, this anxiety that Reverend Brad was talking about, these are all emotions and feelings created from futurizing. Instead of just seeing things like Reverend Lori said, what are they right now? So in this day and age, right now, this everyone is futurizing about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. Just know for yourself who and what you are from your own vantage point. What is yours to do today? Not what everybody else is supposed to be doing or what you think everybody else is supposed to be doing, but what is yours to do today? Like Reverend Gabe was talking about, be that energy, that source of what you want to see in the world. So reframe, and I like that, frame. Instead of being willy-nilly, actually with intent, with your thought, your mental power, your mental muscle, frame what it is you want to experience. Don't accept someone else's belief and hold it true to yourself. Be your own individualized expression of spirit. You have all the power in the universe. It's how you choose to wield that power. Because spirit can only say one thing, and that is yes. So if you want to wield its power, your power, directing towards fear, spirit says yes. And it will give you an abundance of fear and anxiety and things to look at to be fearful. But it's just as easy for spirit to say yes to expanse, to happiness, to joy. You are the director of your life. No one else is. And that is the fundamental of this philosophy. You are in control of your life. No one or nothing. So when you change and reframe and frame your thoughts towards what you want to experience, the universe always says yes. And it's just a prayer work away. Focusing your mind, whether you're sitting in that jacuzzi bathtub with bubbles and candles or whatever it is. But once you make up your mind of what you want to experience, I bet you diamonds to donuts, the universe falls into place and it shows you that path upon which you want to walk. And so from that, I believe Reverend Cheryl or Dale would like, yeah, Reverend Dale, you can follow me now.
Thank you very much, Reverend William. So something that came to mind, and it's been alluded to in all of the thoughts that have been expressed here today, is this idea, and this comes, I believe, from Buddhism, and Michael Singer talks about it in The Untethered Soul. And this is the idea of becoming the observer of our consciousness, and to be able to take that step back and say, and like Reverend Gail said, this is curious. Let's explore this feeling state that's arising. Let me do a little journaling. Like Reverend Brad said, how can I understand what's going on inside of me so that I can begin to take a step towards wholeness and reclaiming my natural state of being, which is peace. And this whole idea of framing is so cool. And, we can have the frame of the picture frame. And I was thinking, I think Reverend William maybe alluded to this. There's the framing of a house. And if we think of our house as our life, we want to build a solid, good frame so that the whole house will be solid and functional and wonderful. And so we have to ask ourselves, am I framing my consciousness and my life from fear, or am I going to put up a frame that's based on love and truth and oneness? And so all of this stuff that we're doing and the asking of the questions that allow us to have the clarity, because all these, life to me is just, it's a really active it's an active thing that we need to participate in. We can't just give you a button to push and your life will be perfect. You'll never have a bad thought again or a negative thought again. We really teach you to be active and present to your life and your consciousness so that you can work with it, so that you can grow, so you can see what's underneath the surface and be able to create a life that you really enjoy living, and just be active with it, because there's a lot of layers underneath us. And to be the observer of life that is being lived through us and what we're experiencing, and to be able to look at stuff and not run away from it, to be able to look at the fears, the anxieties, understand them, learn what they're teaching us, and be able to do our spiritual practices to get through into the other side and lighten up. I just really think that we've got these wonderful ways to do that and achieve that. And now I'm going to pass it over to Reverend Cheryl.
Well, one of the things that I would remember learning, and at the time I thought, wow, that doesn't make any sense. But a lot of our emotions, like anger and self-doubt and worry and things, they actually come from hurt feelings. And I said this one night in a class to a guy that was really angry at his friend because his friend, he felt, had let him down in some way. And he had been ill and in the hospital, and his friend hadn't even noticed or anything. And so I asked him, I said, so it really hurt your feelings? No, it didn't hurt my feelings. And we go all through this exercise of then what did you feel? And sometimes you will find at the base of a lot of your self-doubt, a lot of worry, and a lot of anger and other feelings is that someone has hurt your feelings. But then you have to go in and look at why that particular thing resonated within you as a hurt feeling. Is it part of your identity, what you think you are and who you present yourself as in the world? Or is it that you feel like they've disrespected you or something? But when you think about it, that we're all just one. There is no doubt about that. We're all just one. So what we're feeling is being transmitted to other people, and it's reaching out from our energy. It is surrounding us with that feeling. And now what direction do we take it? That's what's perfect about reframing. Okay, examine that. Why did that hurt my feelings? And then reframe around it. Whatever they said, that's up to them. But the way I perceive it is what affects me. And that can put me in that place of doubt and feeling less than, or lack, or limitation, whatever you want to feel, only if I accept it. But I first of all have to know where that initially came from. And if you can stop and back up and think about that, it takes all the power out of it. It's crazy. It's just suddenly it doesn't mean anything at all. You understand that this is their perception, and maybe they're trying to paint you with their brush, but you don't have to accept that. You just get to reframe it and get into those feelings and dig them out and get it all cleaned out. And then it just changes everything. It really does. So just remember, where you're coming from is what's causing your problems. It's your perception that is causing issues in your life, not somebody else or what they're doing. It's you. Sorry, bad news. It's you. I know that you can reframe anything that you want to. Anyone can. You can change everything, even your past stories that you have it all written out. You've got your story down pat. You don't have to stay with that story. You can stop, back up. Why did I feel that way? Why did I go in that direction? And that is a very powerful, powerful feeling when you could dig that out and you realize where it came from. It's like, wow, I'm winning. You know, I won on this case. And the winning is that I did not allow myself to go into that place, that negative space. I just stay in that, as Lori put it, that peace space, you know, within me. And that's my natural state of being, as Dale said. So it's just been a great, great talk today, guys. Who's up next?
So Cheryl, thank you so much. I think I'm going to jump in next because we're getting close to our time, and I'm just going to provide a few closing comments. I first want to just remind you and reiterate what Cheryl said. You can always frame, according to Lori, and you can always reframe. They are both strong, valuable options. You can always frame, you can always reframe. So as we draw close to the end of one year, 2020, and then the beginning of a new year, 2021, consider what no longer serves you. And also consider what you might want to reframe. So consider picking an emotion or two that resonated with you today and implement the spiritual practices that we've provided. If you want to run a marathon, you must train slowly and purposefully for months. Likewise, if you want to be your best self and learn to confront whatever comes your way with kindness, with compassion, and generosity, you need to practice. You have 50 days left in 2020, plenty of time to reframe and renew. So why wait until you pack up your holiday decorations to get started? Maybe get started today. Dale, how about you?
Thank you, Reverend Gail. You know, just a couple things to add on to this beautiful, luscious bounty of wisdom that we've delivered to you. Something that always works for reframing, and it's been mentioned, is what's the good that happened in 2020? I know we've had a remarkable year this year, but to be able to find the good things that you experienced is a really great way to reframe as well. So, and we always talk about that gratitude and the good. Before I close this up, does my beloved panel have anything they want to add before we start moving into the end of our service? Oh my goodness, the end of our time. I guess it was a sort of a service. Okay, it looks like you guys are good. All right. At this time, I would like to ask on behalf of our center if you would consider sharing your good in the form of financial prosperity with our center. Even though our doors are closed on Sundays, we are working week long to give you inspiration, support in so many different ways. And we gratefully appreciate any financial contributions you can give to us that allow us to continue providing wonderful services to you. And we still have a building to take care of. So anything you can give to us, we greatly appreciate it. There are many ways that you can contribute to us. I believe that there's a button somewhere on this page you can press to donate. You can text your tithe, you can send a check, you can call our offices. Any way you want to do it, we are very, very grateful for all that you give to us. And everybody's been so generous this whole year. And I just want to say a big thank you, and we love you for continuing to support us and being a part of our center. I have a lot of announcements to make, so here we go. The rest of this week, we've got some great offerings. Tomorrow, Dr. Laura is going to be interviewing Austin Ray, who is a remarkable member of our center. He's been with us for quite a long time. He is a music sensation. He is a wonderful performer and singer, and he used to be a practitioner. And once a practitioner, always a practitioner. He's got an elevated consciousness. So Dr. Laura will be interviewing him tomorrow at 10 a.m. on her show, The Higher View. On Friday, we've got Reverend Charles, Life on Love. I'm not sure what he's got planned, but I know it's going to be fun. On Saturday, we've got a meditation with one of us giving that guided meditation at 10 to 10:30. And Sunday, well, you know what happens on Sunday. We've got our service. And then we start it all again on Monday. Some of our regular offerings that we have, we've got the Power of 8 every Wednesday at 8 a.m. We've got a Power of 8 group. If you're interested in joining us, you can go on our website. There's a link that you can sign up for that. We've also got the Social 8s. They meet tomorrow, which is Thursday at 5 p.m. And Reverend William and Reverend Cheryl bring that together. And I have only heard good things about that group. It's wonderful. It's light, yet it's still spiritual community. And the two of them together are so much fun. So I encourage you, if you want to join them, go through the website. And if you do have any issue with signing up through the website to get the link, just call our office. We'll get you what you need to get signed on. Also, we've got Reverend Gail has a wonderful opportunity for healing through the holidays. And it begins the Tuesday, the 17th at 6:30 p.m. You do need to register, and you can do that through our website because Reverend Gail will need to get you some information. So I encourage you. I took her workshop last year, and she's just a gifted minister, especially where grief and healing is concerned. So I encourage you, if you've got some sadness creeping up because of people who are no longer in your life as you head into the holidays, take this wonderful workshop. You'll be able to go through the holiday season a lot easier. I think that's it for, Reverend Brad has a caregivers group. It is the first and third Monday from 3 to 4 p.m. If you're somebody who cares for others, or if you've done it yourself, please join us. It's such a challenging experience. I have been through it myself, caring for my mom, and it's great to come together with people who can share with each other and give some sort of give you ideas on how to walk through this, because I'll tell you, there is no instruction manual when that comes into your life. And it's great to be able to come together with people and just be heard and just be supported and loved. Okay, so I think that's it for my announcements. That's a long list. I've already got a scratchy throat from it. Something else that I want to say, and I say this with a little sadness in my heart, is our beloved Reverend Lori is going to be taking a break from the Sensational 6. She just needs to have some time. And so we will be the Fabulous 5 starting next Wednesday. And nobody can cry. Stop. So we're gonna miss her. She's such a brilliant mind and such a love. But we know that she'll get the nourishment that she needs, and she will be back with us. So we love her. We bless her. And if you want to send any, if you want to connect with Reverend Lori, you can find her through the center or through us, and we can get you connected if you want to reach out to her at all. Okay, I am complete. Does anybody else have anything I did not say that needs to be said? We're good. All right, let us pray. So, oh my gosh, I invite you all just to close your eyes and just relax into this energy of love and light and wisdom and the revelation of guidance and support that each person has received here today, as we have learned so beautifully how to reframe life by looking at life, by seeing what's coming up, by using tools that allow us to understand what's underneath it and to find that wholeness that is underneath it all, and to tune into that, live into that, and bring it forth to the surface, to our conscious awareness, so that we may reinstate that peace of mind that dwells deep within ourselves that is always there. And so I am knowing for each person here that they leave this wonderful time together with a filled heart, with joy in their soul, with new tools to use, with the awareness that all is spirit unfolding, and that we are always one, and that we are always together. Even if we may not be in physical proximity, we are one in consciousness, always together. And so I know a blessed day for everybody as Spirit continues to show us and reveal itself to us in the most remarkable ways as we embrace this divine path we are on together. And so knowing that all is unfolding beautifully for everyone today, I just let go, releasing my word as law, knowing it is absolutely done as we say together, and so it is.